afternoon, everyone. First of all, I thank the Asia CEO Forum, Richard and Rebecca, our co-speakers and sponsors for this opportunity to share with the public insights about our country's fight against COVID-19 in my capacity as the Deputy Chief for Operations of the Philippine National Police and as Commander of the Joint Task Force COVID Shield. When the implementation of the community quarantine in Metro Manila was approved on March 15 and was expanded 2 days later to include the entire Luzon under the enhanced community quarantine, the national government needed a consolidated effort to strictly implement the guidelines set by the Interagency Task Force on the Management of the Emerging Infectious Diseases, or IATF. It was then the Joint Task Force Coronavirus Shield, or JTF COVID Shield, was created, composed of the Philippine National Police, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, the Philippine Coast Guard, as well as the Bureau of Fire Protection. Its three main duties are to ensure that home quarantine, social distancing rules, and other guidelines set to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 are followed. Second is to ensure that only authorized persons outside residence, or what we call APOR, are allowed to go out and make sure that non-essential travels are prevented. And lastly, to ensure unhampered movement of cargo vehicles. Based on our data, the Joint Task Force COVID Shield has almost 124 personnel under its disposition. Just like what you have said, Richard, we have 77,113 personnel deployed, 65,000 coming from the PNP and 12,000 from the Joint AFP, Philippine Coast Guard, and Bureau of Fire Protection. And we have a 47,000 reserve force that could be utilized. All in all, 112,000. I think the operative board here is SHIELD. This is our share in this Bayanihan effort of our country. We, especially the Philippine National Police, are mandated to shield the people from the negative impact of this pandemic. So the families may still live safely in their homes amid the ECQ implementation, and that the basic needs of these people are provided, at least by ensuring the unimpeded flow and availability of food and other essential goods. And lastly, that all the guidelines to ensure that the coronavirus threat is contained are strictly enforced. So the biggest challenge for us actually is on the restriction of the movement of millions of people, because there are a lot of families who cannot afford to stock food and other basic needs as they are dependent on their daily wages. A few of them still need to go out and work, so the government allows them in controlled manner. So what we have done so far is, first, we set up more than 4,000 quarantine control points, or QCPs, across the country, reinforced by beat patrols of local police units to enforce curfew down to barangay level. Second, in response to President Duterte's order to ensure the unimpeded movement of cargo vehicles, the Joint Task Force COVID Shield, through the PNP's Highway Patrol Group, also established dedicated control points, or DCPs, where all cargos and only cargo vehicles are inspected. So far, we have established 112 DCPs in various strategic areas in the country. Mostly, these are located in the boundaries of provinces and the region. As a result, there have been significant improvement in the movement of cargo vehicles that supply food and other essential goods to each and every community. So we have two kinds of checkpoints: the DCP, or the 112 dedicated control points manned by the highway patrol groups, who can only check cargo vehicles, and the rest, the other 4,000 quarantine control points, are manned by the local police. So it is for the cargo vehicle, you can only be inspected in the dedicated or DCPs. For non-cargo vehicle, for the thousands of QCPs. So the cargo vehicles will not be subjected to unnecessary and as well as redundant checking. So third, the enforcement of the ECQ guidelines, however, does not stop at QCPs. Through the initiative of the national government, all local government units were mandated to pass their respective ordinances on curfew, which empowered the PNP to arrest violators. From March 17, when the ECQ was first implemented, up to April 16, yesterday, 31 days, more than 122 home quarantine and curfew violators were accosted across the country, while 72% of this number were just warned and 4% were fined. The remaining 24%, or almost 29,000, were arrested. But we need to be very strict in the implementation of the home quarantine and send a message to the public that we are really serious in implementing them. That is why, in coordination with our Justice Department, the electronic inquest or the online referral of cases through the use of apps with video call capabilities was launched and resulted in the immediate filing of cases against more than 6,000 violators. So we have online inquest, but we don't have online detention. That is why from the 6,000 violators, still a little over 3,000 are still in jail right now, and who knows when they can go out for bail. So for transportation-related violations, we have around 9,000 apprehensions in NCR and Luzon, and on the part of the PNP, under the able leadership of our head, PNP General Archie Gamboa, operations were also conducted against profiteers and hoarders, particularly of medical supplies like alcohol, face masks, and others. And as of yesterday, for the past month, a total of 709 of them were arrested, while multi-million peso worth of face masks, thermal scanners, disinfectants, and other medical supplies were also confiscated. Despite being busy enforcing the ECQ guidelines, normal law enforcement functions continue against criminals, just like what we talked Richard earlier. Believe it or not, your PNP operatives still continue to arrest drug pushers and users and confiscate multi-million peso worth of shabu and illegal drugs despite the threat of COVID-19. Nationwide, there was a 58% decline on index crime volume for the first month of ECQ compared with the month before that, as a result of the home quarantine and continuous law enforcement operation. Well, the biggest reduction was recorded in Luzon with 64%, followed by Visayas with 53%, and Mindanao with 48%. These index crimes actually are the 8 focus crimes that we are monitoring. These are crimes against persons and crimes against property. For crimes against person, murder, homicide, physical injury, and rape are for crimes against the properties. These are robbery, theft, and carjacking of motorcycle and the four-wheel vehicle. And in all of these 8 focus crimes, in all the island groups, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, all went down. Well, logically, it is going down because we don't have practically economic activity and less people around. But we have to sustain it so that we can prevent social unrest. That's why we have to have this unimpeded flow and the movement of cargo so that this crime won't happen with the social unrest. So as early as today, we at the Philippine National Police and a joint task force are on the lookout for adjustments to be made to better manage these kinds of global crises in the future. The bottom line really is to keep our environment safe, orderly, and peaceful. We pray for every Filipino, our public servants led by the President, and everyone around the world. We will heal as one. And we would like to thank all the frontliners in here, the health workers, of course, the members of the uniformed service, the concerned, the dedicated government officials, as well as those who are part of the exempted essential personnel. We really salute you, and you will go down history as heroes who have saved our country. And for the rest of the people who are staying at home, let's be patient. Remember that virus doesn't move. We move it. We stop moving, the virus dies. So sa ating po mga kababayan, manatili sa bahay para mapigil natin ang paglaganap ng virus at masagip ang maraming buhay. Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you.